Speaker. I rise to give my maiden speech, and in doing so, may I congratulate you on your position, Mr. Speaker, and the Right Honourable Lady on her position on the front bench opposite on their positions. It's a privilege and a pleasure to follow the maiden speeches we've just heard from the Honourable Member for Hertford and Stortford, who, along with my honourable friend, the member for Eastbourne, helps to increase the Josh quotient significantly in the House. And if I can contribute nothing else, Mr. Speaker, I clearly increased the Gideon quotient by a massive number of one new Member of Parliament in this House. I'd also like to thank the member for South Ribble. His public service has clearly been enduring, and he has my congratulations on that in his past already. It will be a hard act to follow those speeches, Mr. Speaker, but I do have the advantage of representing Taunton and Wellington, so it shouldn't be a problem too hard to solve. I want to give credit to the former member for Taunton Deane, the Conservative Rebecca Powell. Her enthusiasm for gardening and wildlife is, I'm sure, something that she'll continue to contribute to. And she was, of course, Minister for Water and for our rivers. And being partial to a dip in the river myself from time to time, I was pleased, Mr. Speaker, to successfully apply for bathing water status for a stretch of the Tone in Taunton to get the improvement in water quality that we desperately need in our rivers down in Taunton. The River Tone, the silver thread which joins Wellington to Taunton to the levels close to where the famous cakes were burned near to the King Alfred Inn at Boroughbridge. I'd also like to pay tribute to the Liberal Democrat MP Jeremy Brown, Member of Parliament for Taunton Deane from 2005 to 2015, who served as both a Home Office and the Foreign Office Minister, and who remains incredibly well-liked in the constituency. The first member in this House to propose a new railway station for Wellington, and I'm delighted to have had the Chancellor's assurance in the previous debate, Madam Deputy Speaker, that that project will be going ahead. I'm in fact the 8th Liberal to represent Taunton in Parliament, and since some guy named Disraeli was defeated by the first one in the general election of 1835, and of course nothing further was heard of him at all, and at least not in Taunton. Taunton's parliamentary tradition, Madam Deputy Speaker, is indeed very deep-rooted. As a county town, with its castle, today proudly housing the Castle Hotel and the superb Museum of Somerset, supported by our dynamic town council, the parliamentarians held out after siege after siege after siege. Today, Madam Deputy Speaker, the hard work of so many people at the Brewhouse Theatre, the Sun Symphonia, Bluebirds Theatre, the Tacky Morris, the Willows and Wetlands Centre, the Creative Innovation Centre, the Arts Taunton Go Create, groups like Amici and Voce together with Bradford Players, I have many more, the Thespians at 2K, and in Wellington, the Arts Centre, the Wellesley Theatre, the Operatic Society, the Gaumont Theatre, which once played host to the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, which is now home to the Bingo, all come together to mean that, Madam Deputy Speaker, not only do we have a Mecca, our area is a cultural Mecca from which people come from far and wide. And then, of course, there's a magnificent Somerset County ground, graced by the towers of St. James and the Minster, where I married Caroline just 28 very short years ago, who, along with our children, Emily, Fraser, Fenna and Felix, I can only thank from the bottom of my heart for their support. Our schools from Northtown and Minerva to Bishop Fox's, Courtfields, Castle Perland, Selworthy and Monkton Wood feed into our nationally renowned Richard Hewish College, BTC University Centre Somerset, and University Centre Somerset now offering degrees like nursing in support of the superb staff at Musgrove Park Hospital, for which funding is urgently needed for the new maternity unit where buckets are currently used to catch the rain in the corridors in a building built for the US Army as a temporary building in 1940. Similarly, King's, Queen's, Taunton and Wellington independent schools also make a massive contribution to our area's local economy. And we have a really successful home education community too, one which inspires an innovative generation of young people. And to all our area's children, I say be yourself. If you're named Gideon, for example, there's no need to change your name to get elected to Parliament. And something I once discussed, or tried to discuss with the former Honourable Member for Tatton. But it has taken me a little time to get to this chamber, I have to confess. If I hadn't had to deliver all those Bibles to hotels, I would have got here a lot quicker. But all these institutions, Madam Deputy Speaker, together with the UK Hydrographic Office, make Taunton the ideal location for new research and innovation entrepreneurs. Only 104 minutes from Paddington, and to all of them I say come and enjoy the amazing quality of life we offer. And when they come to Taunton, they'll find we have a ticket office at the station which is still working, and I was amazed to hear the Honourable Lady from the Conservatives benches apparently still advocating the closure of ticket offices, a policy with which all I can say is good luck, Madam Deputy Speaker. And to encourage people coming to Wellington as well, I look forward to working hard on the Wellington Station project, which I mentioned earlier, and I invite the Right Honourable Lady, the Minister, the Secretary of State, or indeed the Rail Minister, to visit the project. And on their visit, I hope they will enjoy a glass of famous Sheppies or Taunton cider, or to pronounce it correctly for Hansard, Zoider, at perhaps the Ring of Bells, or the Green Dragon, or the Pump House at Tonedale, in a Rocket and Bird glass, or with some Summerdale cheese, perhaps in some Bumble's relish, followed by a meal at Goody and Geeky, Melier and Taj, the Little Wine Shop, or Augustus. Ideal for planning visits to key organisations in the constituency, like WPA or Pritex, or indeed to 40 Commando Royal Marines at Norton Manor Camp, in support of which I was delighted, with the help of former Royal Marine Paddy Ashdown, to raise an ultimately successful petition to reverse and to gain a U-turn on the previous government's proposal, shockingly, to close down the entire facility. My honourable friend, the member for Tewkesbury, the other day, in his maiden speech, drew attention to the huge sacrifice that previous generations made, Madam Deputy Speaker, so that we're all free to sit in this chamber today. My own service in Territorial Army was pretty minimal. But my parents, FJC Jim Amos, CBE, and my mother, Geraldine Amos, MBE, both served in World War II, following both their fathers who served in the trenches, and I remember discussing it with them all. So growing up, you won't be surprised to hear the atmosphere and the memories of war loomed large in the discussions around the meal tables. And isn't it, Madam Deputy Speaker, that generation's courage and bravery, not only in rebuilding Britain, but in defeating fascism in the first place, that demands our respect and demands that we do everything we can to defend the liberal and democratic values that makes this country so great. And can I also say, surely their bravery demands that we always, from all sides of this House, always say no to those who would stir up division, despair and hatred for nothing more than to get votes, because they have nothing positive to offer people instead. Madam Deputy Speaker, it's the greatest privilege of my life to serve the residents of Taunton and Wellington. From Hatch Beecham, Helland and North Curry in the east, to Whiteball, West Buckland and Sanford's Moor and Arundel in the west, and from Bishopswood, Churchingford and Stoke St Mary in the south, to Pickney, West Monkton and Kingston St Mary in the north, in this House today. I'm here to do one thing: work for them and to stand up for them to those in power whenever that's the right thing to do. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to begin that duty today.